Alrighty. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are discussing a couple of things here before we get into the main bread and butter of what we are talking about, which I got to work finally. First thing on the agenda, we have done some calculations, not me personally, but Evil, shout out, and Flo, shout out to you. They have figured out that it is no longer really viable to be running with Ferocious and Earth Emperor on, or Emperor of, on any of these guys. What we have found out is that Serenity is a really good alternative to this. When I compared Serenity being on here with Ferocious and Earth Emperor, neither one of them really showed that much more of an impact. Like, they both kind of went together evenly as far as their percentages up and everything, because it's 20% to attack power or 20% to earth attacks. So both Earth Emperor and Ferocious can be switched in and out, but for the best results, apparently, you want to have Legend, Musclehead, Serenity, and Impatient. And the reason being is because, okay, to explain this in like short, because there's a lot of information here. If you guys want to join the Discord, I'll leave a link in the description below. I have pinned the comment that she had posted with her and Evil's findings, with her ridiculous stuff that she does. Like I said, shout out again to both of you guys. It's hard to explain. I mean, you're just gonna have to trust me on this. Again, I'll leave a link in the description of the Discord if you guys want to join up on that. But yeah, the findings are there, the math is there. I am not going to go through and read all the stuff that they had said because it is very lengthy, but essentially with Serenity and Impatient, it's like a 45% increase to attack speed. So in comparison to having like Serenity and Ferocious on there versus, or Emperor of and or Lord of, it's like a 25% difference from that of having just Serenity and Impatient. Just because of the attack speed, they're able to get off more attacks more often. There's basically zero cooldown, to the point to where they can continuously attack with everything, especially with bigger attacks. But yeah, shout out to Flo and Evil for figuring that stuff out. We had a good little conversation last night over stream, and thank you guys for joining on over that. I personally will not be going through and changing my stuff. I might do a couple of them, but we're gonna have to like rebreed and do a bunch of stuff. I do unironically have a doggo with one of the Impatients on it, so we'll probably try to breed that into that so we can start getting that on some of the other guys. But this also makes it really important to be using those in particular things on the Xenoguard, just because they can't get Legend and they can't get a couple of other odd and things. So probably with this one, your best bet. I don't mind otherworldly cells because it is a plus 10%, so you lose 10% off of not using Ferocious, but you gain a 15% extra for fire and lightning damage reduction. So I think otherworldly cell might be the way to go with this. If not, then I think that if you go with Musclehead, Ferocious, Serenity, and Impatient, then you'd be doing some pretty decent damage. One thing to mention as well, that this does not include Siren of the Void or the new Eternal Fire. They are higher up and they can be combined with a little bit of other stuff to make them better, ferocious, as it being a percentage basis. Moving along. Now on to the coup de grace. We have done a little something. This was the vast majority of the stream last night, trying to get this set up. But we have built in the small desert, we have done a 5-level breeding facility. Now, I probably could have made this a little bit more condensed, but I wanted 5 levels because I wanted to see if I could do it. So we're almost done with the top shelf here, but as you can see, we got those guys up there. The way that I actually designed this is basis off of using the monitoring stand to then pin the actual pals to the breeding pins. So the other thing as well, with the ramping system that I have here, it needs to be a 3-wide opening with at least a 2-wide for them to get up here. 2 pals that cannot breed over here are the alpha version of the Yormantide, because it's just too big. If you went up, I think if you went up a 4th layer, so instead of 3, if you went up 4 and gapped them up like that, then that would probably work fairly well, and you could probably get them in there. But that in particular, and then the Menacing Terra boss version as well, the alpha version, will not breed in here for some reason. But we did end up putting the 2 alphas that we have of the Noclums just to see if this would work correctly, and it does. as you can see. And just to prove that this works, we can set them up anywhere that we have these guys right now. Now, bottom is top, and I'm assuming that top will be bottom. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see, because organizing these things are a bit difficult. But as you can see, we put them down. They are moving. And it turns out that it is actually somewhere. Nope, they're actually still going down. So it ended up being that one. But yeah, they actually go up and down the ramp. The pathing is working currently really well, especially with being able to do that. So we can put them from there and then put, like, I don't know, put them here. At that point, they go down to the bottom. And behold. So this makes it to where having a 50 PAL 25 breeding pin base is actually feasible and will work correctly. It took me a while to figure out exactly the right dimensions that I needed to have to make them actually go up and down the ramp. Like I said, it needs to be a 3 wide or 3 long by 2 wide opening. And I did not use stairs. I used the actual ramps because it seems like the stairs are a little finicky. I'm not sure if that's the case on other people's stuff, or maybe I'm just paranoid about it. But the other thing that I did is I staggered the steps back by 1 on each one, just to keep that opening big enough to where they won't get like caught up or not go up. So as you can see at the bottom, we have it gapped by 1 tile on each one as you go up. And yeah, actually worked out really well. So we will be finishing this up and getting some pals in here to kind of show that it works. I do have enough cake because I made a bunch, and I probably can make even more right now. Some people were asking me how exactly I went about getting the 100 IVs on stuff. When it comes to IV breeding, first and foremost, I will say this, that you need to start out with the passives that you want, because it seems like if you get the IVs that you want and then you try to breed down into the passives, then the IVs reset. That's in my experience. As you can see here, I have done 2,452 of these guys, so this really is just a time. Another thing that I would suggest is grinding out the dog coin like we had showed on the farming dog coin video. If you guys want to look at that, we've shown that on how to up the ante on that, especially with if you have control over your world. There's also another place that we found about grinding, and it is down over here, and there's a pathing around this second part of the desert in the new island area that you can run back and forth and find those guys, little chest dudes. That's usually what we're cranking out. I've heard people running around and doing the junk piles as well. I personally, since I am in control of my world, that's not really too useful for me, but apparently all those junk piles respawn after about 6 like IRL time hours. So you could get a meteor to drop, harvest the meteor, then go about, do all the junk piles that you can, and then go do the oil rig, and then come back, another meteor will drop, and then by the time that one's done up, go back to the oil rig. And there's a lot of timing that's involved with it. So it's like 6 hours for the junk piles, 3 hours for the meteors and or supply drops, and then 30 minutes every 30 minutes. And this is all IRL time. Does not matter if you change the day night cycle. We've already tested this, but IRL time specifically, it's every 30 minutes on the oil rig that the big chest respawns. And don't be on the oil rig when it does, because that chest won't spawn immediately. If you so happen to be on the oil rig clearing out everything and everything respawns, then just jump off, go back to the base, and then come back to it, and the chest should be respawned wherever it is out of the 4 places that we have discussed that they could be. But yeah, we can use these guys as an example. Since I have a bunch of them going right now, we'll just throw out all these guys real quick. Oh, these bigger guys ain't gonna do it. But as you can see, I literally just assigned everything to everything, and they all went where they needed to go. So this is really useful. You don't have to drag everything to certain places and throw them in there or any of that stuff anymore. You can literally have 50 pals breeding at once, which I have only 48 out right now. I did have 50, but 2 of them were the big boy Yormantides, and they will not move up here. Same with the Metasting Terra alphas. So those are the only 2 alphas that I've found that can't really go up and down this. The rest of them have worked and without any issue, as you can see. So 5-layer breeding base, there you go. There you have it. You can do it. Oh, we did find another alpha that apparently that does not want to go up there, and that is the Sezuku. Some of the flyer alphas might not go up the ramps right. So yeah, to be safe, I would suggest going up 1 layer because this would prevent it. So do 4 instead of 3, which I might change mine up just to make sure that I'm able to do that and not have any more hiccups like this. But all in all, works pretty good. So yeah, much shorter video today. Like I said, we're still breeding up for the raid. We do have our 100 IVs coming out with the Yormantide, and we're well on our way to getting that fixed up and done up as well. We will be live shortly after this video drops, give or take an hour or so. So keep an eye out for that. We will be going live a little bit earlier today. 1, we're going to be finishing up this breeding base, and then 2, we're going to be finishing up the raid components and then start to try to get into some of the newer pals and the Is It Worth It videos. Also to touch base on the doggo from yesterday that we were talking about, the one that you can use to find the passives. Like I had mentioned, no legend, no lord of, no lucky, you won't find those, but other stuff you can find. It does work on bosses. We have proven that already in the video prior to that video. It does not work while hatching eggs, and apparently in order for it to proc a little bit easier, doing damage with the actual pal will supposedly make it proc a whole lot more often as far as catching them with the right passives instead of just having them by your side and you doing the damage. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like. If you guys enjoy my content, drop a sub, and write down in the comments below, out of the new meteor pals, what would you guys like to see first, as far as Xenogard, the other little purple dude, or the moon lady? Y'all keep y'all's willy washed, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.